have a little palette going on there. Next thing you want to do is create a layer in which you're going to color. Okay, so you always want to have your coloring, your 3, 2, 1. You always want to make sure that you have your ink lines and your color lines separated. This way you'll be able to go out and switch colors. It's much easier when you need to edit and fix things. Also when you're wanting to erase things. So if you look on my layers panel, I have my top layer is my ink work. My middle layer is going to be my coloring layer, and my bottom layer is just my background to make it easier. I chose to make this gray because it's easier on the eyes, or eye in my case, because I only have one, so there you go. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with this baseline red color, and who doesn't love red hair, right? So I'm just going to sloppily color this in. I never care or pay attention. I can always fix it later. Just get the baseline coloring in. You'll notice some of these areas are not coloring in properly. I have to go in and fix that later, but that's not important for now because it's good enough. Now I'm going to go and color this person's hair as well. You can always fix this later, but this gets the color in. You're not going to be able to do a quick fill in with your filled paint bucket tool because hair is wispy and it's just not going to work. Just don't even try. I mean, if it can work for you, my hat's off to you. So I have to go up in this layer and I have to get rid of these little white splotches. So I'm going to go in here and try to erase them as best I can without messing up the rest of the picture. This eraser tool works really, really well for that. And it's not trying to make it perfect, just good enough. Oops, this one doesn't want to go anywhere. Three, two, one. Alright, so now we have the base color down, we're going to go into our second lightest color. Yes, that sounds right. Second lightest color. So we're going to grab our eyedropper tool and we're going to go into this and we're going to test it. See what I'm talking about, and I just want to do some lines. You don't want to, you can if you want to do like just a straight line across, but I find that doing lines like this makes it look a little bit more interesting and a little less blocky. But depending on the kind of look that you're going for, that could totally work. So I'm going to go on this side and just follow the natural shape, and then down here in the curls, this is where it can get a little bit difficult. You always want to put a line on the place where the curl bumps out, because that's what's, you know, catching the light. So I'm just going to do a couple of little lines here and there. And then down here. And there you go. So this girl is pretty much getting somewhere. As far as this person over here with the straight hair, this, you just kind of do the same thing, except you don't have to worry about it, all these little extras. It can be a little bit more simple. So whenever you draw hair, it's better to draw it in pieces or sections. So this just follows along the pieces and the sections. So you can do one up here because that's where the crown would be. Actually, for this, I'm going to make this a little bit smaller because you don't want to make it too big. You may have to adjust the size of the brushes depending on, you know, the parts of the hair that you're working on. Okay, now that I'm getting into bigger territory, I'm going to fix the brush and make it a little bit bigger. It's okay to have it piecey down here and up here, but in the middle you want to have it a little bit more solid. So you'll just play with it, but I'm just going to follow the shapes of the hair. And then if you need to come in and fill in a little bit here and there, you can. It looks a little weird right now, but when I blend it all out, it's going to look really nice. And then some of the strands you can bring down a little bit more just to kind of give that little bit of pop or dimension. So now here's where things get more interesting. Next you want to go into the color that is a little bit lighter, this lighter one. This one you want to put in the middle of this. So I'm going to make sure that this is big enough. And it's kind of like a fun layering effect. So you want to put this in the middle. Whoops. Am I on the eraser? This color you want to put in the middle and just kind of go along the hairline. You can make this a little bit blocky if you want to. It's up to you. It's however you are interested. But just keep going back and forth in the middle. Make it look jagged. Make it look not completely, you know, 100%. Try to make it look organic. Pull some pieces down. This is one of those things that you kind of learn by feel over time. I went a little too much with that one. Some of them you can kind of pull up from here a little bit just to add a little extra. I think I went too crazy. What am I doing? I'm waiting for this gem in. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so now we have our secondary highlight. We're going to put in our, or I shouldn't say secondary. Okay, now we have this done. We're going to go into the lightest color that we've selected. So I'm going to select that with my eyedropper tool, test the size of my brush to make sure it's the way I want it. And now what we're going to do is just make a line that's semi-thick that goes right across. This is going to give you your luster. Now we're not done yet. We're still going to do more. But for straight hair like this, it's pretty easy shot. It's straight across. This girl has some curly hair. It's a little bit more piecey. So what you want to do is make a pretty much the same width line within each little piece of hair. So you want to do it like this. It doesn't have to be perfect across, but you see how it's not exactly even? It kind of goes up and down a little bit depending on where the hair lays. That's going to make it look more realistic. So now we're going to go into these little bitty curls, and we're just going to do little guys all over the place. Nothing too crazy, but just here and there. You want to kind of stay a little bit in the center of what you've done already. You don't want to have this lighter color overtake the darker color, because then you're going to mess with the success. The littler pieces you can just do like this. Oops, that was not good. And then it looks something like this. Now this looks a little crazy right now, but bear with me. In time, it's going to look really good. So now once you have this done, you're going to go one more step. I didn't put a swatchy of this because, you know, it's just white. You're going to take actual white, and you're going to take a thinner brush, and then you're going to go in the middle of this lighter color. So you're just going to do a little bit of white. That was not exactly where I wanted it to be, but we're just going to do a little bit of white. Why is this not going? There you go. So you're just going to do a little bit of white for this girl. Just repeat the pattern. This will work for whatever color hair you're wanting to do. Now, if you're going to do black hair, I always like to do a color rather than like different shades of gray, because the hair can look just too gray. So if I'm doing black, I will do this with different shades of blues, purples, greens, whatever kind of, even browns perhaps, whatever colors I want to offset the hair with. So that's that. We're cooking with gas. Now we're going to go into this darker shade right here, and this is going to be our highlighting color. We're going to keep our brush fairly small, maybe make it just a tiny bit bigger, because this is where we're going to go in and create a little bit of a realistic darker, I shouldn't say highlights, low light. So here's a little shadowy area within her hair. We're going to go there. Like I said, don't worry if it's a little messy. That's not a big deal. You can go underneath here if you want to, just to bring it on the edge, because we're going to erase most of this. Then you can do a little bit in here if you want to, but I usually don't bother with that because it doesn't really lend well. But you can put it there if you want to. But wherever you see a little bit of a place to put it, you just want to follow the curls along. You don't want to go too crazy with this. It's definitely not something that you need to do a ton of, but here and there just to give that sense of depth and dimension. So we're just going to put it under here, and maybe a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here. So we're just giving a little bit of depth and dimension in this hair, maybe a little bit over here. Okay. So you see, I didn't go crazy, just added a little bit. As far as this guy, his hair is pretty straight. We're not going to do too much, but we're going to put a couple of areas like right under here where his hairline, bumps out, and then maybe right here and here and here, just to show like the volume of his hair kind of falling down. Just a little here and there, nothing too crazy. But there you go. You don't really have to go on top. So now you have this. It looks a little splotchy, looks a little messy. So now we're going to go into one of my favorite tools, which is the blending tool. This tool is really where the magic happens. So now we have our blending tool selected. Oh yeah, and you have to have all your colors, all of these variant colors have to be on the same layer. So they're all together, because if you have them separately, it's not going to blend as well. So you want to do is you just want to take this and you blend. Think of it like you're applying eyeshadow, or think of it like you're applying blush or contouring. It's kind of like contouring or contouring hair. Now I'm going to be honest with you guys. I like the blending tool in Manga Studio better than I like it in Photoshop. I just feel like it does it faster and easier. So this one's okay. It can get the job done, but Manga Studio is where I do most of my blending. But you just keep blending, just keep going around and blending. You don't have to be careful, really, you don't have to be precise, just blend. The blending is really where the magic happens, and where it becomes more real. And you just keep going. And then at the end, when this is all said and done, if we need to go in here and put some more hair strands in to give it a little bit more texture, we certainly can and will. You want to make sure that there's no harsh edges. Okay, so this is the gist, basically. Now, I feel like this hair is not defined enough, so we're going to go into the black. We're going to get a hard line. We're going to make it tiny. Let's test it. A little too big. A little too small. We'll get it. Whoa, it is hard to get. I know I'm using hard lines here, but this is what I have, and it's easier right now to do it that way, but I feel like these shadows weren't strong enough, so I'm just doing them real quick in this one. There we go. Now you guys will be able to see what I'm talking about. So you just go in here with this and you just blend. See how strong that is? See how good that is? For those of you who don't have Manga Studio, you can achieve this in Photoshop. You can. I promise you. It's just going to take you longer. And for the sake of video, I just wanted to get this done quicker. So, okay, now I'm going to go back into my pen tool. I'm going to make it smaller. I'm using the for effect lines because it gives nice lines like that, and that's what I like to draw with. I like them to be pointed on both ends. Going into black, and we're just going to fill out this hair a little bit. These lines are way too thick. What was I thinking? A little bit thicker. these lines coming out so